So, Kishana, thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of our Community of Practice channel here on YouTube. And on behalf of SETI, I want to thank you so much for your leadership today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, as always, we begin by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, if you can please do us the honors by introducing yourself to our listeners and viewers and tell us about your amazing work.
So, my name is Kishawna Peck. I'm the founder and CEO of Woven. We're a community of around 6,000 women building and growing their data and AI careers. We've been around since 2018. And there's been a lot of shifts in our industry. So we've had a lot of changes as a company and also as a community, going through layoffs, going through different changes in like AI, for example. So we're there to support women as they figure out how they fit into the new dynamic of the data and AI industry.
That's fabulous. Wow, 6,000. That's superb. Good for
Thank you.
you. So, what inspires you about the work that you do?
I think what inspires me is the amount of impact. So when I get feedback from one of our community members that an event they were able to meet someone that helped them in their next role, or they started their own business, or they actually understand the concepts that sometimes are presented in a way in order for women not to understand. Those are the type of things that inspire me. It's the type of support and community that I wish I had when I started my career. So I feel like that keeps me going. And although there are some changes in the industry, in the landscape, I actually think it's a great opportunity for women from different disciplines to learn more about data and AI and how their expertise can be woven into the technology.
For sure, for sure. That must feel so rewarding, like it's like a passion and you're fulfilling a purpose and it's the people that you help. So you're covering all the P's, you're doing the work. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
So, like on the flip side now, any challenge or barriers that you've come across, and how have you overcome them or in the process of overcoming them?
There's a there's a lot of challenges, I would say, and barriers. So as far as challenges, I would say my main challenge is always cash flow. Like it's always funding cash flow. So we're not a not-for-profit, we're for-profit. We were not-for-profit when we started, and it ended up being that we actually received no grants. Like all of the money that we got was from sales to corporate or B2C through ticket sales. Like we never got any form of grants. Um, we did switch from not for profit to for profit. And like the corporate landscape right now with DEI is very shaky. So that's been an issue. Also, with the amount of layoffs, inflation on the B2C side, um, people don't have as much extra cash flow to invest in learning and development. And a lot of companies are cutting learning and development budgets. So there's those forces on that side. Um, because AI is such a big topic now, there's like an oversaturation of like women in tech, women in data, women in AI, women in this, women in that organization. So there's a lot of substitutions that people could say, oh, like I don't want to go there, I want to go somewhere else, which is fine. Like as long as you're able to find the information that you need, that's fine with me. What I've heard that's different about our community is that it's actually warmer and we actually get you to do the things instead of kind of not like staying within theory. Like our participants of our events, of our programs, they're actively involved, so you're actively learning, so there's a difference there. And also we focus on intersectionality. So in some women in tech spaces, it's very like white dominated, like it's kind of curated for white women, even if they don't say that. And in ours, we try to ensure that there's diverse perspectives both on the stage and in the audience at all our events and all of our programs. So there's a lot of different challenges, and also in the Canadian landscape, I just feel like Canadians are very risk averse. They're very risk averse and very mindful about what they spend money on as well. So there's that, but we're looking to expand into different markets. We've actually been able to start expanding into the US.
Mhm. Very good, very good. Yes, I totally feel what you're saying as far as the Canadian landscape, it's a never easy one, but we're hopeful and we know that there's a lot of women out there that especially in our community that can use your services. So, we gotta just persevere and go through, and but that's where it comes to be collaboration, because it is the key and it will help, in social changes and things like that. And as you said, you're for profit. So it's a whole different ballgame where, what you get support with. Yeah. So
Yeah.
totally understand. So is there anything that you wanted to like any key priorities, anything you want to amplify at this time? Anything new you wanted to share?
Well, we do have our membership. So we have our data membership, which has monthly 3-day AI challenges, quarterly build with me's where you actually build something end to end. It also has an always on community. We have co-working sessions, and we also at our pro tier have leadership workshops. So for example, if you were in a more senior position and now you're hoping to speak more about data and AI and how it intersects in your industry, we provide workshops on that. We also have monthly review sessions, so it's a virtual online community. So that's something that I'm really excited about because it's actually like I feel from the event space, it's like you go to an event and then you don't know what to do next. This provides our community with something that they can do next and to continue their learning. So I'm really excited about growing that membership.
Awesome. That's great. So how do you feel about the future of like social impacts in Canada?
I feel like, especially since I'm a for-profit social enterprise, I I feel like more social enterprises shouldn't be not-for-profits, which I know is a controversial take. But like when what I noticed when I switched from not-for-profit to for-profit, was my mindset changed. Before, when I was not-for-profit, I was giving away a lot of value, um, which made it very difficult to be sustainable, like a sustainable business in order to regenerate. I know some not-for-profit social enterprises are very dependent on grants. So sometimes they end up shifting into whatever the grant requires instead of what their main mission is. Because I'm for profit, I can like focus on what my mission is. Um, and also sometimes in not-for-profit frameworks, it's like there's the mindset of like you cannot be financially stable while you do something for the community, which is something I completely reject. Since I'm in the space of empowering women, like I feel like that shouldn't miss me or my team as well. So ensuring that I'm able to pay my team well, and also eventually like I'm not there to pay myself consistently. So like those are the type of things. So I actually feel like more social impact is going to move into the for-profits phase, um, because I feel like there's a higher likelihood of you actually meeting the outcomes, um, and in being more resilient, especially with the reliance on grants or like corporate sponsorship or anything like that. If you're heavily relied on them, then it's like that's a risk as well, right? Especially with like different political climates when different governments change and different funding models are gone. So now you can't serve that community anymore. But if you had the solid base from before, then it's like all of that is extra that helps grow your community, but it's not the foundation. So I'm hoping that there's a bit of a switch there, so that social enterprises are a little bit more resilient.
Wow, thank you so much for saying that. I mean, just sparkles, everything was just exploding in my brain. You know what I mean? Because I think, especially Canada, I'm finding, and you know what, the US too. But we seem to be kind of more dependent on grants, on, getting that funding, which is great. You know what I mean? We don't take away from it. But the key point that you said was you get to express how you want it to go. You don't have to look at the list of all the requirements that's needed to, fulfill the rules and regulations of the grant. This is your own art of expression. This is your own how you want it to go so that you can have the outcome that you want. It's not wired or programmed by way of a whole nother organization that, I mean, I don't want to say care less, but they, you know what I mean? They have so many other things
Yeah.
going on too. They're not really zoned in and focused. They just know here's the money, here's our, what we expect from you, and carry it so out in that manner. So thank you for saying that. I totally agree with what you said. That's beautiful. All right. So what would be like if you were to summarize your ultimate goal, and what does success look like to you?
hmm so my ultimate goal is for more women, more diverse women, more Black women, more Indigenous women to become more data and AI literate. So what I've noticed is while everyone is talking about AI, it seems like it's almost like orchestrated at the same time that like we're killing DEI and like we're not talking about how the space is not diverse. Like there's around I think 26% of women in the space, and when you go down to like Black women, it's estimated at 1%. So so it's like these systems are being built and they're being scaled for the population, but it's not being created by diverse groups. And I think that's extremely problematic. So I think more women becoming data and AI literate and us having a part in that is one of my goals, as well as being able to invest in women-owned AI companies. Like that's one of my larger goals. Like I'm hoping within the next 3 years I wouldn't have to be in the business as much and I could hire someone to run the business and I could just do advising and investing in women-led AI companies. Especially being a founder myself and I'm completely bootstrapped, I know that additional funding and support is very important.
Absolutely. Very, very good. Wow. Shauna, this has been so powerful. I really appreciate this. And I know a lot of, especially Black women, will definitely appreciate that. And really thank you for voicing what needs to be said, and where we need to be. So, my last question for you is if you have any closing thoughts or calls to actions at this time.
My call to action would be, I know I've heard a lot of a lot of things about being like, oh, you're too late to the AI race and like all of these things. Like I don't think you're too late. But I do think like a first step that you can take is like whatever domain you're in, look at what are the different applications, the different innovations, what news is around that. You can do that easily by putting in like your domain. So if it's marketing, like marketing and AI into a search engine and like seeing what pops up for you, figuring out what kind of problems that you're having in your domain and seeing is there any way that data and AI can fix this? What are the ethical implications of like working with these tools? Because that's another thing, like that's being swept under the rug. And you mainly only hear women talking about the ethics of AI. And there needs to be a combination of us speaking up about it, but also having women that are building the tools as well with responsible frameworks. Um, yeah, like I feel like you're not late. I feel like the sentiment is that you are late, so you should give it up. But I don't think so. I don't think you're late at all. But I would be mindful about where you enter. Like I think you need to do kind of an analysis. So for example, if you were looking to like become a data analyst right now, that market is very saturated. There's a lot of tools that replace the workflows of data analysts. So maybe you look at a higher range of data professional than that. Higher range, I mean like higher amount of skills and tools that they would be using. Um, but sometimes the words like data analyst, data scientist, like depending on the job description, it could be the same thing. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunity, especially in domains that people aren't thinking about, that there's still opportunity, you're not late.
Oh yeah. Who says that? Like, I understand exactly what you're saying. Maybe there's a one, area or okay, like you said, data analyst, it seems to be, but there's so much more. Like,
Yeah.
you me. I mean, I love to learn. So I'm already learning about, AI animation and how it can help with, advertising and in different business. So that's so fun, I'm just learning that. So I'll definitely be reaching out to your site. What's your website or how can someone get in contact with you?
So our website is joinwoven.com.
Join Woven. Okay, perfect. So I'll definitely be joining because I love to learn and I'm really getting attracted into that type of AI for me. I think it's a lot of fun. And so, hey, who knows what it can blossom into,
Well,
but
even like
there's
with you saying you were interested in the animation side, so like
Mhm.
96% of deep fakes are actually pornographic. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, which people don't talk about that. There's a lot of lawsuits right now with artists saying that their art was stolen in order to create these image generators. Image generators are like one of the top AI tools that use like crazy amounts of water in order to generate the tools. So, or generate the output. So, like
The
there's a lot of
outputs,
stuff
yeah.
behind. So it's like even while we're like having fun doing these things, like there's
Yeah.
layers of implications like underneath it that people aren't talking about, or
Mm,
if there's people talking about it, it's mainly women. And then like once it's
right.
a headline, people are acting like they came up with it, but there's been a slew of women that have been talking about it for years.
Wow. 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 So you see, this is what it's about. When we collaborate with what the skills that you have and the knowledge, and and we have the platform. That's what it's about. To really get to understand. Because I heard something about water, but I'm like, how do I link the two? So thank you. I'm going to do more research on that and see what is what's the connection there. So,
And that was one of
yeah.
the things that I was thinking about, is like Canada is a very resource rich place.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, like when people are thinking of building their AI capabilities and they're thinking of like the data centers, like they're also thinking of the resources that they would need in order to run them. So
Around them. Yeah.
Canada is like very uniquely positioned right now, but we have a lot of work to do in
For
order to
sure.
like adoption and growth of the AI industry here, because a lot of the research actually started in Canada for AI.
Mm,
Yeah.
for AI. Wow, wow, wow. That's amazing, 'Cause I do know, water is infinite because I don't know if you know about a brother in the US. He creates water from thin air, yeah, it because water, we're breathing water right now. So he extracts the water from the ethers, by way of like distillation, when it just comes from like steam, how yeah. So he's a big machine that you can buy. He's been helping villages, just transform water out of thin air and water is just pouring out and it's not connected to anything. So maybe it's by way of how they access the water instead of for getting a technology like that you get infinite amount of water
Mhm.
from the air, but maybe those parts are not being researched enough and being supported enough, um
Maybe.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe
so
because I know right now there's like some areas that are having like droughts because their water is being used up. Like,
yeah,
so
yeah. Well, but trust me, 98% of it is political. We our cars can be run with water. They don't, the people that, um, well, let's stop the recording and then. Hallelujah. So thank you so much. We will end the way that we began by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So I'm just going to end the recording now and then